Welcome to Empowered by AI, the podcast for women entrepreneurs ready to harness AI to take their businesses to the next level. I'm your host, Michelle Muncy Silva, founder of Innovative AI Studios. You may have left corporate life to start this entrepreneurial journey, but you don't have to go it alone. Here, you'll find a supportive community of like-minded women and an invaluable thought partner each week, as my guests and I share actionable insights you can use right away. So let's dive in together. All right, let's introduce you to friends. Yes, Halima Muhammad. You are a creative woman of power, I have to say. Your work absolutely sits at this unique intersection of storytelling, design, cutting edge tech. I love it. Can you walk us through your creative path? What kind of led you to launch your own digital brand? And so everyone can,
Yes. So I would say it was a calling long overdue. I just didn't know what I was supposed to do. I knew it was supposed to be something fun and creative, but sometimes the higher power, whatever you call it, has to move you, right? Because about 2 years ago, it was put in my heart to resign from my job, and I did not listen. I was like, no, I need the money. What am I going to do? I need a backup. And then I ended up getting laid off late 2023. I had some savings, and I was like, I'm going to figure it out. I don't want to go back into corporate. I don't want to go back into a brick and mortar. I want to work from home. I tried that for about 2 months with a recruiting firm, and I hated it. You could literally see the life sucking out of me like on a daily basis. And I was just like, oh my God, I don't know what I'm going to do because I know I have a unique opportunity right here to do what I want to do, but I know nothing about it. And then I didn't really know what it was. I just knew it was something creative. Long story short, I end up seeing an advertisement from Secret AI Society, and I clicked on it, and was Jenna had these amazing photos. She was talking about branding yourself with AI, and I knew a little bit like of AI, like everyone else with ChatGPT, and that was pretty much it, right? So I was like, you know what, her images look so great. Let me just click on this. And then about 20 minutes into the session, I realized that this is what I'm supposed to do. And the only thing I prayed for is that I can afford it, right? Because my savings were running low, right? I've been out of work for 8 months at this point. And so I was like, okay, please let me be able to afford it. And I end up going through the training course. For the first 2 months, all I did was create about 14-hour every single day for 2 months straight. And then I thought about it and I said, I'm getting good at it. I'm getting great feedback from my images that I'm creating. I need to figure out how to make money. So I printed off a portfolio of about 45 images, 11 by 17, got a really nice book. And then I just started walking into art galleries and was like, you want to see it? You want to see my art? I didn't even wait for them to answer. I just open it up. And the shock value was like, wow, because initially they thought I painted it. And I was like, no, I did it with my software and everything. I said, this is really great. Ended up getting into one art gallery. And then it led to a second. And so that's when I knew, oh my God, I have something here. This is something that I would do if I didn't get paid because it made me so happy. It healed me. I was going through perimenopause at that time. I just found out. So it was just a lot for it, boy. But this actually really course correct me in the right direction. And I'm just never looking back. It's just absolutely fabulous. So that's pretty much the journey.
That's incredible. And I'm wondering, I've talked to other artists, and I'm always curious what advice you would give to that solo entrepreneurial artist who's unsure how to balance tech with that authenticity in their brand.
To be honest with you, there doesn't necessarily have to be a balance in it. You could be authentic and still have a brand. And that's what I've learned because I end up working, like I currently work for Secret AI Society, and I speak to women all the time, and we help with their branding with AI. We have women that already have full functional businesses. They have projects already going on. We have women that just so new to AI and they just, I know I need to brand myself. I hate my job. I just want to leave my job. My husband divorced me. I want to start doing things for myself. It's like this fork in the road that the women I speak to. And I always come from the position you can be authentic. You don't have to be cookie cutter of what, like you want to stay in industry standard, like meaning you don't want to mix toothpaste with meat, right? You don't want to do that, but you want to say, you know what is going to be what's going to resonate with my ideal audience. And we always ask you to tap into your inner child, because say you love strawberry shortcake, right, as a child, but then you have to grow up. You have to be an adult and all that, right? You have to wear the bland clothes and stuff like that. And I tell them, like, let's just pull out the red that's in her outfit, and we could just put that on you with a red suit or with a little strawberry button or something like that. That's just going to remind you of why you're doing this. And then it would resonate with your desired audience. Just be yourself. Like there's no balance in that. Just be yourself and make sure to just stay within the industry standard. Just people can know, okay, if she's a finance director, she's not going to be in a class suit, if that makes sense. That's what we do, right?
Yeah, yeah. No, you're teaching them how to almost leave Easter eggs, right? In the image that are immediately.
That's a perfect, because when I go to movies, I look for the Easter egg. So that's definitely a perfect analogy for that.
There you go. That's what I was thinking the whole time. It's what you would see it and you'd be like, oh my God, I get that. I get that. Does anybody else get that? I get that.
You go down the rabbit hole, you're like, I know what that is.
Exactly. That's what we want. That's what we want. That aha, mystery and wonder. I love that. And for other creatives that are listening, what are some ways AI can help elevate their brand visuals, right? So I know it's a tool. I know I need to learn how to use it, but how is it going to elevate?
One, you're going to get your results much, much quicker. That's number one, right? And then two, it has a unique way, because I don't see AI as just a tool, right? I see AI as an extension of our imagination, right? Like I'll go as far as extension of our consciousness, meaning that when we put the prompt in, right, we literally, it's putting like a code in. And then I just dropped the ebook and it says, it's let there be light. And I always tell people, like, that biblical verse, when you say, let there be light, the words were said and then you got a result, right? So that's what AI pretty much does for the everyday creative or non-creative, because it makes it so easy. Even if you're not that creative, you could still create beautiful artwork or beautiful logos or beautiful web designs, whatever it is you want, just with this, what they call as a tool. But I just think that the way we tap it into this intelligence is the artificial part that people are referring to. So the advice I just would say that is to start with you, because your intention is feeding the system, right? And then whatever you input it, you're going to get multiplied output, and it's going to blow your mind. Like you're going to be like, oh my God, it's literally like, I knew what I wanted, but I could not quite put it into words. And then now that I'm seeing what's happening and what it has produced for me, this is exactly what I want. I get a lot of my clients, that's exactly how they feel once they start producing their output.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm wondering. What are some of your go-to processes, your workflows when you're starting a new creative project? Because you just said, even if you can't quite get the words out. So what does your process look like to get from that maybe vague beginning to a polished product?
My vague beginning starts from journaling. I journal every single day. And I think that was before AI. That's something that I think everybody should be doing, pulling those thoughts out. You got to think, our working memory only can hold about 4 to 7 items. So even if we think, have you ever had a situation where you thought about something, you like, it's so important and it's going to be so powerful. I know I'm going to remember it. And then the next 30 minutes, what was that I was thinking of? So you want to get it out. So that's the first thing, the first step that I do. And then the next thing I do, I brainstorm with my ChatGPT. And I say my ChatGPT because her name is Sophia, and I tap into her all the time. And I just say, hey, I have this really cool idea. Let's just talk about it. And we just go back and forth. And then you have the paid version of ChatGPT. We all know it learns you. The non-paid one, if you don't give it any money, it's going to forget you right away. So I'm just letting you know right now. But if you pay, yes, you now have a friend, right? And so we just go back and forth and we brainstorm. And of course, she spits out so many ideas. So ChatGPT journaling, then ChatGPT are the two things that I go to. And then I will go to my image creation. Like everyone knows about Midjourney. That's one of them. I deal with about 6 of them, but that's like the process that I go through.
And I think it's a nice reminder because solopreneurs are wearing all the hats, right? Like they're doing all the things. So even creative director hat comes on, right? What are some of
Yeah.
those practices that you've learned that someone who's doing it all can apply to manage this a little bit more effectively? I know you said journaling, but how do you help somebody who's wearing all the hats?
What I would typically do is they have to be extremely organized. I'm not the best organized person. I'm very creative. Like I could do that all day, every day. But then when it does come to that back end stuff, the techie stuff, because there's a difference between the tech and the creative part. Oh God, I could just hire someone to do this for me because it does get a little redundant. So what I personally did was I invested in the more higher end software that can be my agents, right? And they could do a lot of things for me that I just don't want to do. Like I know how to design a website, but I can have an agent that would design the website for me, right? And it might not be exactly perfect the way I want, but at least give me a foundation. And if you're going to hire someone to help you out to do that, some of these agents type of levels are like $200 a month. And for someone that don't have that type of income coming in yet, I get it. So the only thing I can tell you to do is to be extremely organized and have ChatGPT help you with that organization. You can spit out a bunch of input and say, hey, put it in a chart for me. Give me the days that I need to do XYZ. You literally can ask it to direct you to be your creative director for your life and say, okay, what days works best for me to start putting out posts? And they're like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday, Friday, you'll do this. And so you just have to follow that. And if you just follow that enough, it becomes like you become on autopilot and then it just doesn't feel that overwhelming. But I would advise you the moment you could get an agent, like an automation in place, I trust me, it's worth the money for you to do that.
You're talking about creating your own virtual assistant.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's so helpful because yes, I can hire a human as a virtual assistant, which is fine, but I can't pay them $200. You know what I'm saying? That's just insulting. I just could not do that. But with the AI, you pay that level and then you have something for 250 or whatever. It's way more efficient, in my opinion. You have to give it a task. Like you still have to train it. That's like the hardest part in the beginning, trying to train it because it does push back and it don't understand some things. So you just, I thought you would do a regular person, like to get them to understand what you're doing or what you're trying to convey. But once you get it, it's okay. You could just give it that, hey, can you do that thing you did for me last Thursday? Sure. And it just start doing it or whatever. So it's a very powerful tool to have. And I'm seeing that it's catching fire with a lot of creators that they are leaning more towards those tools to help them out a little bit. And what I want to tell you too is that it doesn't mean because it takes something off your plate, you now have all this freedom. No. When you give it the task, another task is showing up into your brain for you to now break down and say, okay, how do I manage this? So I'm more busier than I was before the age because it leaves room for other things to come in for me to tackle and to accomplish.
That ties back to what you said earlier. It's like there's only so much in your brain that you can process at a given time. So it makes sense if it's freeing up something for you that the next thing is coming forward.
Waiting, if it's right here, this is like waiting for everyone. Oh my God, what is there?
It's my turn. It's my turn.
They're like, this is such a great idea. I gotta make it happen and stuff. And so it doesn't free you up especially when you're building. Like once you get to the point where you can have staff and people reporting to you and managers and stuff like that. Because even though I do create the virtual assistants through the machine, I want to definitely get to the point where I have human beings being able to manage that for me because I don't want to forever manage. Like I said, it doesn't free you up in a sense. It'll take that tedious part off your plate, but something else is coming that you now have to be the creative director for. And it's just this fun cycle that you go on until you can be totally hands off. If that's what you want to do, because like I said, I'm having total fun with creating and building the brand and helping others do the same. So
That's what I was wondering about. Is it, and I'm hearing from you, maybe it is, but what I'm wondering is that overwhelm? And how do you stay creatively inspired when is it the next creative idea that's coming to you because you got rid of the mundane with the tedious? How do you manage that so that you're focused on the creativity while you're also delivering on your popularity?
it is overwhelming. Yeah. I'm not going to lie. Anyone else that tell you anything different, I don't know what they're doing. If they on autopilot like that, where it's not overwhelming, oh my God, they're God's favorite child. But it is overwhelming because, like I said, as soon as I get be able to push a task away, then something else is on like right there to, okay, grab me and say, okay, what are we going to do? Because I'm here. And the way I manage it, I mean, it's not like a bad overwhelm because like I love the creative process part. I love the going back and forth and brainstorming. I love seeing it unfold. It's just like I said, those tedious things. I'm like, yeah, go ahead and check all the emails and let me know. Like that kind of stuff. But the creative part, just seeing the beauty, the imagery. Yeah, absolutely. I can do that all day. That is one of those jobs that I can do if I don't even get paid for. So that's what I love about it. Now, someone that's not as creative as I am might not feel the same way. So the only thing I could tell them to keep from being overwhelmed is to take breaks. I did not do that. Like I said, everything was happening back to back. I'm 14-hour day creating. Then I'm hustling to get into different locations because I wanted to be known and start selling my work. Then I got hired at Secret AI Society. So it was just like this ongoing every single day, something is in my email that's pulling on me saying, hey, we want to know about you, or can you do this show for us? And I'm like, okay. And I try to say yes to as much as I can, but sometimes you have to say no. And then what I'm going to start doing is, okay, on Sundays, I'm not going to touch the computer at all. I have not been successful at it yet, but that is the goal. And just lay around and watch TV and just get up some wine, and that's just your downtime because the other 6 days are going to get full and you're not going to feel like it's work. That's what's going on. It doesn't feel like it's work to me. It feels like play all day, but I do know that I'm only one person and there's only 24 hours in a day cycle. So it's just a lot. And it's overwhelmed because I don't get everything done. Because like, oh man, I'm going to put this off but I want to see it to fruition. So that's like a part of the overwhelmment too, because I want to see it become the butterfly that I know it can be.
That's the hard part too, especially when you're so in love with what you're doing. You're feeling so fulfilled and you're like, okay, I really didn't want to work today, but this kind of doesn't feel like work. So maybe I should do it. And yeah, you do. You have to recharge. That makes total sense. You have to give yourself some downtime.
Exactly.
And you've consulted for major brands on creative strategy using AI. We have a lot of solopreneurs as well. What is one principle that you would bring forward from that high level work that you think would apply to someone building their business, their brand?
I would say organization. And to be honest with you, from a solopreneur and someone that's high level, it is the same mapping, really. It's the same assessment, right? Like I send out the same exact assessment. Like just because you have 10,000 people that you want to promote to, you have that in your cipher, and then you're a person of one, right? It doesn't matter. I'm sending you the same assessments because I'm going to get the same value back from you. I just think that with higher end brands, they just have a little bit more to lose because they already established and they may want to rebrand. They already have their people. So it's, hey, I got to stay in the same kind of brand of what they came to me for, but let's tweak it and make it better. So yes, I could work with you on that. But there's someone that's a person of one, right? is a little bit easier because you have not built anything yet. So we could say, okay, we have these 3 brands. Which one do you think your ideal client would resonate? Which would make you more not have brand shame? Because that's a real thing. You have someone and they put something out. A lot of our clients or potential clients that I've came across, they're like, oh, I can hire someone from Fire. I can hire a graphic designer. And I'm like, yeah, that's great. I'm not pushy. I'm not a salesperson at all. I'm like, hey, I want the person that's attracted to me that we can work together because I want it to be a win-win situation. But what they found, they will go and say, okay, let me take the shortcut, but they feel like it's more like order taking. It's more like they don't feel connected to the brand, so they can't promote it. It's one of those things like you're in an MLM and you're trying to promote something you really don't believe in. You're not going to make any sales. It's just not good. You're not going to resonate that out into the world. You know what I'm saying? It's to get the feedback that you need. So I always give them 3 and I say, hey, what would resonate with your ideal client? Because that's one of the questions that we like, what is that? What does that look like for you? And then what also resonate with you because it has to be a win-win situation. So you can go gung ho with your brand, so that's the only difference that I, of course, so far.
And that makes sense. That makes sense. I'm wondering, because you work so much with, I know you said you're a coach and you work so much with women predominantly that are looking for that transformation, right? They're at this point of transition. And I'm wondering, what kind of transformations have you seen when clients embrace AI? They've had a chance to dive into the creative process and they really see what's possible.
Yes. So I see a transformation. One, their self-esteem go on 1,000. That's the most important thing. I read a book and you may be familiar with it, but it's called Cybernetics. You ever read that book, Cybernetics?
That's a new one for me. No, I'm going to look that up now.
It's a big one. I feel like I'm not saying the title right, but it's cybernetic. If you start typing in cybernetic, it's a popular book. And what it is, the author wrote the book because he was a cosmetic surgeon, right? And he said that he would do these surgeries and create these beautiful people. And a lot of times, 9 out of 10 times, they did not see what he saw because their self-esteem was still low. So that's what made him go into that field because he was like, I need to make sure that anyone that comes to me, that I can do some surgery on their self-esteem as well, because that is the make or break thing. Like, I remember being in a low point in my life, like getting laid off, being diagnosed with perimenopause at the same time, being in not ideal relationships because my self-esteem was not good at all. So I'm attracting these things and I'm staying way too long. Like the job that I got laid off for, I stayed there way too long. Like I said, 2 years prior, it was put in my spirit to leave the job, just quit, just have faith, just do it. And I'm like, no, this is my livelihood. And when I end up leaving or end up getting laid off, it was just hurt. I was so beat down. I had to do a whole bunch of building myself up, and the AI, me creating the art actually helped with that. Like, I always tell people like this saved my life because I had no idea what I was going to do. I know it sounds pretty corny, but I lived it, and people that know me, they lived it. My children saw it. Like they saw the transformation of how my self-esteem just kept building and building because of the artwork I was creating, because of, and especially when I started working with Secret AI Society, how I was able to transform these women from coming in, I don't know. I'm like a therapist to them. And I was like, listen, you want to create your reality? This is what you do. And I would coach them on how to do it. And it will work. I would get all these emails and like little notes and stuff that's in the community saying, without her, I don't know where I would be and all this good stuff. So it just made me feel good to make sure that I can show them what I've been through and help guide them through that as well. So it's just an amazing feeling. So definitely self-esteem has boosted 1000% with a lot of people that I've helped.
And I know you I don't want to, it's not take advantage like you're taking advantage of something, but you maybe embrace would be the better way to say it. You embrace what you can insert into the art as well. So your art is weaving history, it's weaving culture,
And then it's,
and it becomes an incredibly personal piece. So, what's most important to you in an AI generated art piece?
the culture is important for me. I focus on women. I do have 2 male clients, but, everyone else is women because that is my market, right? And I ended up focusing on the beauty of the feminine energy. Culture plays a big part because we have women globally, right? I could tap into their culture and pull out beautiful artworks. And then I can also cross reference the cultures as well and create something amazing. So my prompts are very personal. I have this one signature woman that I will use for pretty much everything. And she mimics me, but sometimes she could be extremely dark, but she would have the blonde light shortcut that I pretty much have in these images if I'm not like focused on someone else outside of that. And then I think it's very important to pull from yourself, pull from your intentions. Like I always go back to that, let there be light, because I'm like, that was a command. That was a code that was inputted into a space, right? And we could say that space is the machine, right? Because what it happened was you inputted your intentions. If I put in let there be light, I'm going to get something totally different from you that you put in let there be light because of your intentions, because of the AI learning you. So it's never going to be anything to say be the same. So yes, I think having the intention is extremely important. And then mixing the cultures. I even go as far as, even though I don't do traditional artwork, I did produce an artist that does that, my daughter. So I just want to let you know that I'm not totally cheating. She definitely does traditional artwork and she came from me. But I studied the art of antiquity. I have books that goes back to 1200th century and all these things. And even much so that I want to start creating like my next project will be to start creating a travel series where we go on tours to honor these artists. I don't want to like negate that because I feel like all the beauty that we can take from the world, we can put it into the craft and create something magical that everyone can benefit from.
I just had a conversation with someone a couple days ago where she cautioned if we settle for the first image, we will get a generic image of, let's say, for example, an underrepresented identity is going to come back as this generic version of that person. And
Mhm.
so I'm curious because I feel like this is a sincere problem within AI that because it's only using the data that it has and that data is biased, that data is swayed to not include a truly representative collection of images. And so I'm wondering what's one thing that you do when prompting AI that makes the output feel truly rooted in reality rather than looking, as this woman put it, the same person every time, a little bit more generic.
I break the AI.
I break it. I
I
break it
break
until
it.
it gives me what I want.
I it be telling me like I can't do that. I'd be like, do it. Like I'm very sparing. Like even though, like I said, I look at it more as an extension. I'm like, okay, we gotta whip you into shape because it's still developing. And what people need to understand is that the AI, some people call it artificial intelligence. Yes, we know. I call it ancient intelligence because I feel as though that is all the things that everyone has ever put into it, right? It's like this pool of infinite intelligence that people just keep putting inside of it. So if you had people that been doing this and they were biased, right? The output we're getting is all humans, or if you believe in aliens, maybe them, but it's going into this collective and then it's presenting an output. And yeah, I do agree, like the very first 4 seconds, you always get 4 images. The very first 4 images is not really what you go for, but in my opinion, they're great because I use different softwares and I know how to prompt to a way where I'm like, I'm getting something that I can use later. I might not need it for this particular project, but this is a great image. Even if the words are wrong or anything like that, I know how to fix that. But I'm like, this is a really cool image. I can use that later and I'll put it to the side. But yes, it does take more pouring into it to get the results that you're looking for. And that's with anything. You know what I'm saying? Can you imagine like the light bulb being a light bulb the first time? Like these things take trial and error because you have to figure out what doesn't work. That's equally as important as what does work because you have to have those two things going on. It's duality, right? So I understand what AI is doing. I did hear that people are saying that they're not really getting the representation. I have not seen that within myself. Like I said, I might not get it like that first time, but I break it. I keep going at it. I force it. I be like, listen, you're going to bend to my will. You're going to give me what I need. And I use little tricks and stuff like that to figure things out. And then I get what I want. Oh, okay. This is great. And then I'm good. Like I said, I have not experienced it because I always end up getting the results that I'm looking for.
And it sounds like iteration is a key part of that.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Like I said, you can't. Would it be really worth your while if you just got it every single time? Like to me, the fun of it is the process, the journey. The saying that we pray love. Set for the alchemist end up taking this long journey only to end up back where he was. Like that's what I feel like AI is because right now it's doubling in power every 6 months. So twice a year, it doubles in power. We don't know what it's going to do next year, but it's getting better and better every single day. And I see that in the results of my work. So I just want to tell people, just keep trying. It's going to be okay. It's going to work out. You may have to tweak the prompting, the wording a little bit. You may have to upload some images to give it inspiration. But for me, I do always end up getting the results. And then I just have fun creating images. Like I'll get the result and I'm like, let me reprocess. Oh, I like that too. And a heartache. And just so I can have more images to have fun with later on.
And what would you say to a creative professional who's intrigued? Like they're hearing you and they're almost there, but maybe they're concerned they're not techie enough. Is there like a small project or an experiment you recommend someone that's just getting started maybe try out?
That is a great question because it's almost like a traditional artist staring at a canvas for the first time, right? And so I would say, hey, pick your favorite logo, right? Or pick your favorite character, like Strawberry Shortcake or the Powerpuff Girls or whatever, right? Wonder Woman, and just reimagine her. Just play with that. That is so low maintenance. I promise you, there's so low pressure. You're having fun and you're creating these images and you're like, oh my God, I didn't know I can do these things. And you just never know what, now, the Powerpuff Girls are now cross them with the crafts girls, so and they're from the witchcraft, right? You can play with these imageries and just see what it gives you and just have fun with it. So I think that would be the step, like just to play. Do not take it serious. Do not stare at the canvas, our monitor, and just stare at it. Just do one word, say, and just start playing and see what it produces if you don't know how to construct the prompts yet. Just do one word. Just be a little apple cider and see what it gives you. And just start having this fun with it. It's first thing you're going to laugh. You're like, oh my God, I can't believe that they produced. And so and then start adding words, learning the structure of the prompt. And you start doing that because whatever you put into it is input. It's going to give you an output. Not necessarily mean what you want, but go with the blank. You don't want anything. You just want images. That's it. You don't want something specific because that's what's going to mess you up coming from someone that is very techy, but not creative. I spoke in front of a room of people that were not creative at all. They were extremely techy and it's fine. And I'm like, the AI, you don't need to have any experience. You don't need to have to go school and do all these things and stuff like that. You could just start playing with a software like Midjourney and just start playing with it and see what you come out. You'll be shocked by what comes out. It's going to be absolutely beyond your imaginations of what you started with because you don't know how to do anything yet. So just play. That's my suggestion. I promise you. And you'll start being more tailored as you go on and start learning more and picking up things. So yeah.
I love how that connects right back to what you said at the beginning, where it's like you have to remember to feed your soul. And I think play is such a vital part of that. So thank you for that reminder.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
I love it. Where can people see your work, collaborate with you, explore your brand? Where can people do that?
They can do it with my name, halimamuhammad.com. That is my website. And it has a bunch of things on there. I have my services on there. You can book me for speaking engagements. I have my speaker sheet up there. I just dropped my ebook, Let There Be Light. There will be a hardcover or a paperback book version, but it's in the publishing process now. So I did end up just dropping the ebook. And I also have something called the visual drop for those non-creative people who still want to put out blogs, but they don't want to go to stock photos. I send you 8 images per week for only 4 weeks a month. So if it's 5 weeks, you're only going to get the 4 weeks. So there's 32 images you're getting of my crate. I went into the crate for only $9.99 a month. And you literally, so just come to your email and just, hey, you pick out an image and you create. So I have thousands of images that's just been sitting. And I said, let me try this subscription. And I have a couple of subscribers and they get the images every Sunday. They get 8 and they have fun with it because it's royalty free. You do whatever you want. So it's just so much
fun. I love it. I love it. What's next for you? What are you going to be tackling next? I love how the eyes just got big. Here we go.
Oh, okay, so much fun. So what's next? Like I said, I mentioned earlier that I am going to be doing tours, and they're going to be luxury tours nationally and globally. So what I decided to do was train to get my travel agent license. That's all. I'm in the process of doing that. I'm with Avoya, who specialize in luxury travel already. So I'm in the process of actually learning all of the things I need to learn to be a travel agent. So once that's done, I would say like later this year, in the next 2-3 months, I'll be promoting that. Another thing that I am working on is I'm city council member of a very small town in Georgia. I love my cute little town. About 2,000 of us here. And I'm starting a AI literacy program for K through 12. So I'm building that. So that's another thing that I'm working on. And then another thing, I partnered up with a film maker where we literally are creating some pilot programs for a major company that is looking to see our work. So pretty soon we'll have some pilots that we'll be able to submit and we'll see what happens with that. So those are the 3 major things that I have going on, and I'm pretty excited. And like I said, it goes back to Michelle, get rid of something, and then here comes that's bigger. Like, oh my God,
exactly.
what's happening?
You opened the floodgates. That's what you did.
That's what's happening. So those are the next 3 things that are coming up for me.
I love it. Thank you so much for spending time with us and giving us a little slice of not only your life and that window into that, but your incredible talent. I appreciate you.
Such a pleasure, Michelle. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate this. All right.
Thank you for tuning in to Empowered by AI. If today's episode sparked ideas, don't wait. Follow the link in the show notes to visit innovativeaistudio.com and download your free resource created to help you put today's insights into practice. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on future episodes packed with more tips, tools, and inspiring stories. Until next time, stay empowered and keep innovating.